Welcome to Through the Stage Door, Sweet Legacies. My name is Lydia Crossland and I work at York Theatre all the time as community connector. Now my specific role on Sweet Legacies is to be project supervisor, keeping that link with York Theatre Royal, and I also provide access support on his last report, which means I'm in every performance supporting people to hopefully enjoy their experience. So during this podcast series, you'll get to hear from lots of different people that have been involved with Sweet Legacies. So we get to hear what they enjoyed, what they're taking away from it, and their thoughts around the project, including Moving Minds, an organisation that focus on dance and dementia. Ian, who works for the Thomas Pocklington Trust. Some lovely people from Wings, our women's group. Esther, our researcher. Em, who's a freelancer across the projects, including Access Layers and Tang Hall Smart. Today, we are starting with Becky Lennon, our project manager.
Hello, I'm Becky Lennon and I am the project manager on Sweet Legacies, so working alongside Lydia to manage this big, amazing community project. Sweet Legacies is a community engagement project that runs alongside our community production, His Last Report, which our project supervisor, Lydia Crossland, is actually in, so she can tell us a little bit more about His Last Report.
I would love to. So I'm in His Last Report providing access support, and His Last Report focuses on the story of Seabohm Roundtree, and it explores his poverty report, life in the factory. It blends modern, it blends the past, it asks questions of us now to reflect on the role of arts in society then and now.
So Sweet Legacies is responding to those themes of the Roundtrees and the heritage in our production, and allowing community groups to make their own creative responses, and it's been absolutely brilliant. So there's plenty of ways to see what we've been getting up to. The first way is coming on down to York Theatre Royal, front of house, where there is our community exhibition, which is running from the 19th of July through to the 3rd of August, alongside His Last Report. So if you've got your tickets for His Last Report, why not come down a little bit earlier and have a look through the exhibition front of house and celebrate the amazing community groups that have been involved in Sweet Legacies. If you can't come along to the theatre front of house, or maybe you're a bit further afield, do not worry, as we have commissioned an online digital archive which showcases all the amazing work of the community groups, and it is going to be up on the website for the foreseeable for everyone to engage with. The communities have responded really positively to the project across the board. They've really thrown themselves in and they're having hopefully a really good time with us. And you can see that in the work they've created and all the lovely feedback they've sent us. Some of the community groups have given us quite unexpected outcomes that we didn't anticipate when we started working with them, which has been really lovely to see how their creativity has developed and changed, and how the theatre can then support that ambition as well. It's been really lovely to see as well kind of community groups who maybe at the beginning weren't so maybe sure about what we were getting up with to, and then towards the end asking for more. So there was a couple of groups that came along with their organisation who were just coming along because they were like, this is an activity, how exciting. And then towards the end we had people saying, I'm a theatre convert, I want to do it again, is there more workshops? So we've really seen a bit of a shift in kind of the groups that we're seeing at the theatre and the future work as well, which is really exciting.
I think it's been exciting as well, people asking us what's happening next. I think we've got that quite a lot from people, and that just sort of shows that that engagement is really there, and that need and that excitement is there, which has been really nice to hear from people. I guess you never want to do a project where everyone's like, oh, when does this end? When can I go home? But that need and that excitement, I think, it's been quite a long project. It's not sort of been a couple of months. It's been over most of this year, really. So I think keeping that engagement has been really nice, and just us trying to strengthen those relationships has been exciting.
Yeah, and some of the creativity that they want to do in the future has been inspired by what they've discovered. So I think that that's really nice that the theatre can then hold like new groups who maybe want to develop work into professional quality work as well, which is amazing. Not what we anticipated, but I'm thinking our wonderful Theatre of Connections group who had a sold out performance for Refugee Week, which is just absolutely amazing to get this project involved in other things happening in the city, and everything very partnership working has been brilliant. So yeah, seeing what's next is exciting. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, I think people have really enjoyed as well getting to sort of be paired with a specialist artist.
Yeah.
So a sort of an expert in that field has been a real joy for us as well, because people can say, oh, I want to make a song, and we're like, here's a musician, or I want to make a piece of art, but I have no idea where to start. And with as much enthusiasm as me and you have, Becky,
Yep.
it's been really nice being able to offer to those different groups someone that really has sort of like a knowledge of that specific thing, because I think for us to cover everything would have been impossible. We would have had to have 50,000 professions under our belt. So that's been really nice as well, and I think people have responded well to that.
Yeah, and the artists as well. We've started working with, I think there's a bunch of about 20 freelance artists that have worked on this project. So it's been big, introducing new people to the theatres team, and developing those relationships too. There's been a lot of fantastic unexpectedness that has been joyful and lovely. I think there's been a real big interest in the Rowntree's heritage and all the history around the project as well. And we've seen that in a lot of the groups that we've gone to, kind of coming with their own facts or their own experience from working within the factories or living in New Earswick. There's been a lot of communication and conversations that we've had with community members about the heritage, which has been so fantastic, hearing first-hand accounts and stories. Some of those have made it into creative outputs as well, which has been wonderful to see that like living heritage again, and seeing different people's stories is gorgeous. So like, for example, one of our groups with Nightlight and Care Scent, they made a piece called Kit Kat Co, and the majority of their cohort in that group, they actually had first-hand experience and were bringing their own facts and their own research, and they were going away and looking for more information to input into the production, which I think was amazing and lovely to see. So a real interest there. And when I've been going up to the open house at New Earswick, which is one of the places that the Rowntree's had the most impact in York, there was a couple of people that were bringing pictures of their family members from the factories, or piece of kind of artefacts they've got in their own personal archives, which has been great to get that involved as well in that side of things.
I think most of our adult groups has always been someone that's like, oh, my nana worked there, or there's like not been many at all where no one's had any connection to it. And I guess it just shows what a big sort of provider they were and how impactful they were in the city. But I think as well, it's been nice getting young people involved and thinking about the heritage and the story. I know especially my one of my accessories groups, they really took it and wanted to run with it. They wanted to make their own musical all about it. And, you know, obviously the inspiration was open, and it might have been they picked one thing from it. They might have picked that it was set in a factory, or they might have picked that they created their own village. But actually what they were really interested in, especially a couple of them, was the history and the sort of the family that Seaborn Rowntree was born into. So they wanted to look at the different generations of the Rowntrees and make a musical that showed how he sort of got his inspiration. So they wanted to look at sort of Joseph Rowntree, and I think there was a Henry Rowntree. There was lots of Rowntrees. But they wanted to look at that sort of family and how the idea of making and selling chocolate came about. So that was really interesting to see them sort of come alive with it, because I think you never know whether heritage and the past is going to inspire people, but this definitely has. I don't think there's anyone that's sort of turned around and not found something that they could be inspired or connect with. No, definitely. And also just thinking as well about heritage and being that making that an accessible thing for everybody. We've worked with a few groups as well where we've kind of looked at how we can introduce heritage in accessible ways. So one of the groups, they made soundscapes based off kind of elements of the Rowntrees. So they looked at the factory, but also the outdoor parks and also the shops as well, so making music and soundscapes and things inspired by it. So it's been a real open kind of project, so they've been able to do whatever suits them with their own needs, and whatever
they're enjoying as well. So if they like music, we'll go down that route. If they like drama, we'll do that route. If they like visual arts, we'll go there. So yeah, they've all been able to respond in a way that is really directly linked to the heritage. And our researcher Esther has done a brilliant job of finding really specific heritage that is of interest to each group, which is great. So Lydia, we've been doing this project for over 6-7 months now, so there's been loads of amazing work, but there's also been quite a lot of learning. So I think it's good to acknowledge when there's been moments where we've learned or where we've decided maybe to change tact a little bit, because I think, to be transparent, running a big community project can be quite challenging at times. There's lots to manage, but I think the biggest thing for me, if I was to go back, is to really revel in those moments and those special bits with the communities when we're in the room doing the work. It can be easy sometimes to get wrapped up in all the behind the scenes, but actually, if I could go back, I'd just tell myself to really, really enjoy those bits where we're working with people, and that's why we do the work for them. So enjoy them myself as much as they're enjoying them as well, which I have, but I could definitely do more of, I think, in future.
Nice. I think I've got two contradictory ones. The first one is just to keep listening to people. I think that's sort of the key to all this, is to keep present, like you were saying, keep present, but keep engaged with those groups. And I think keeping responsive and keeping engaged in each group is sort of the biggest task, and the biggest joy is keeping present, keeping engaged, making sure people know that you are genuinely interested in what they're doing, and that it's all about them having an authentic and collaborative experience. I think on a big project that can become slightly difficult, because you've got so many people that you need to maintain sort of that presence with, and that listening ear and that sort of enthusiasm and engagement all the time is really the key. On my contradiction to that, I think sort of looking after your own mental well-being and mental health, because we obviously are massive advocates for that, and that is, what a lot of creative engagement is about, is making sure people are involved, engaged on their terms that make them feel good, and sort of promoting good practice, empathy, good working. And I think this job is so joyful, involves a lot of talking, a lot of being, a lot of doing. And I think the only way you can really be present and enthusiastic and engaged is by looking after yourself. And I think taking those moments where you need a little breather, you need a little break, you need to sort of change up what you're doing a little bit to look after yourself, is always a real priority, because otherwise you can't look after those community groups and work with them the way that you want to, or those individuals or those community members. So really trying to look after yourself as much as possible is what I will say. Whether that's, achievable, I'm not sure, but I think it's really a good thing to think about that.
I think the standout moment for me was actually receiving the link to the online archive, because I think picking one specific moment within the community groups, it's just impossible to pick one moment. Every single workshop, every single session, there is multiple standout moments, but I think getting that link to the archive once it was live and seeing all those groups, all those people, hundreds of people who are involved in the work that they've created, displayed online, that is public and everyone can see, I just felt such a sense of joy and pride, and that I'm a small part of their work. It makes it all worthwhile seeing that people can celebrate that work. But yeah, there's so many standout moments in each and every group. Picking one would be unfair to everybody, because I can't. But yeah, seeing that online archive was just beautiful. And I think there'll be a big standout moment from our community Kaylee as well, when we celebrate bringing every single group together for a celebration of living heritage, I guess, at the end of summer, which I am so excited for.
I think the exhibition as well will be a highlight. We've seen some of the images and they're huge and look incredible. So I think having something so big front of house is something that we haven't really done before while I've went there. So it's going to be so nice having things sprawling the cafe and inviting people in and really showing what is happening. And I think it's been a real joy as well that the team at York Theatre are all so excited by this. I think there's a real buzz in the air, and so many people are so proud and excited to be part of this. That's been really nice, having so many people being behind us, working with us in such a nice collaborative way has been really nice as well. I think I would say to anyone that's wanting to do their own similar project, it's really good to get lots of experience. So when I did my MA, which is obviously a real privilege to be able to do that, it gave me a lot of time, and I just volunteered with everything that I could do. And it's tricky because obviously people should be paid for their time and their work. But for me, there was a real value in volunteering, and a real value in being in different environments where there was no pressure on me, because I was there to support as a volunteer, but it meant I could just soak in what other people were doing. And I kept a journal, and every sort of workshop and community sort of project that I was involved with, I'd go away and I'd scribble down what I thought was really good practice. I'd scribble down any good exercises, games, ways of working, and that meant that I just really had a lot of time, which again is such a privilege to have that time to do that. But I think things like this, getting experience, is just a real good way to start getting in the door, getting in the room, and just sort of soaking it up and seeing what part of it you enjoy as well, because it's, you know, even me and Becky have different roles on it, and we have different strengths. Even though we work really collaboratively, we have different strengths and different things that we know that we even enjoy more. And I think it's just figuring out, what is it about community work projects that you really enjoy? Is it the organisation? Is it delivering things? Is it doing the marketing and making sure it's all captured? Do you like doing writing workshops? Do you like doing really physical workshops? Like, what is it about working with the community that you enjoy, and what style of delivery do you want to have?
Yeah, I also think there's something in going to see other people's things as well. So I think one of the big things is meeting people and meeting your kind of people that will support you if you're going on this journey of starting to work in this type of career, I guess. It's really important that you surround yourself with people that are supporting, lift you up, find your other people that you deliver well with. So making sure that you're kind of supported through that journey as well, and finding your tribe. I know people say that all the time, but I think that's really important when working this work. Who can champion you, who can support you, who can jump in and help when you need a little bit of support. So yeah, I think there's a mixture of finding out what you want to do, who you want to work with, and also I guess a little bit of kind of giving that time if you can, which it's really important that you give people time in community work. That is ultimately how you build trust and how these projects succeed.
That's all for today. Tune in to the next episode to find out what we've been up to.